Okay, we have Dad here.
This is me sitting in the armchair.
So Dad wants to wish everyone in the family a happy Christmas.
Of course I do, yes.
And Dad, what does what does Christmas mean to you?
Writing out loads and loads of cards. I've got a table full of cards there that I'm very, I don't know, I've got to get on with them.
Yes.
And do them.
And we're stopping you today, aren't we?
Not really.
We've just...
I'd probably be watching a snooker or something.
Oh, another snooker person. That's great.
Oh, yeah.
Excellent. So what do you do?
Boring game in the world, I've been told.
Really? Not when you're playing it?
No, I think football's pretty boring.
I like most sports. I think my favourite's got to have to be tennis, for me, personally. But a lot of people find that boring too, so...
Well, I can no longer see the ball when it's on television. I used to watch the ladies, not because I got anything about ladies, no more than anybody else anyway, but it was a slower game and I could see the ball, and but now it's progressed and I can't see that either.
I wonder if you went to Wimbledon whether you'd see the balls then.
I might.
It's a possibility. Yeah. And your game was squash, wasn't it? You used to play squash.
Yeah, that's pretty lightning too.
So Christmas time is like a memory. So
yes.
I mean, you always have happy and sad memories and stuff like that.
Yes, we often had rather poor Christmases, and so it's not one of those vital times to me that I'm going to thoroughly enjoy. People that think I'm slightly odd about these things, but I don't enjoy all the patter that's going on and
the commercialism.
Yeah,
no, we don't, and I don't think. Yeah, I think you've got a whole family that doesn't particularly like all that stuff, except for Lucy.
Well,
she loves it all.
I dislike it so much I became a Quaker.
Oh, right, okay, yeah.
I'm not a fully qualified Quaker, but I go to the meetings. And
right, that's where we have our equity meetings at the Quaker House, Friends Meeting House.
Do you?
Yeah, in Brighton.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it's a lovely place.
I'll tell them at the next meeting.
Yeah. You can say that your daughter is the local secretary of the equity branch.
Yeah.
As well as the membership secretary of Clowns International.
You go to the meeting house?
Oh yes, we go every month. We go to the meeting house.
There's a big meeting house in Bournemouth, but I go up to Fordingbridge, which we're only we used to be about 20 strong, and they used to advertise in the local rag, and they stopped it on account of it was quite a large proportion of our money going on advertising, and they didn't see the benefit. I said, well, I came from Ringwood, I saw the ad, and I said, there's 3 other people come from Ringwood, and they also have seen the ad, and joined as a result. So, if you want to stop it, you have to stop it. I did think of funding it myself, but I couldn't really afford it. It comes out twice a month in the magazine.
I suppose the other way is events, if you have events there. And like the Friends Meeting House in Brighton do, they have people coming in, groups coming in and using, the Quaker House.
Yes, it's to try and fund.
Yeah,
fund
that's right.
They only have things that they approve. Well, what we do, we use the United Reformed Church, and we got the old manse, not the whole place, we get a room in it, and second and fourth Wednesday of the month. So we have the meeting there, and it's sort of churchy surroundings, but we're in the manse, which is, I suppose it's late 18th century, or might be earlier.
So it's beautiful buildings then.
Well, it's a cottage type thing, and it's attached to what is a much newer church, which was probably built Well, the one in Ringwood of a similar nature was built 1700 and something.
Wow.
Late 1700s, when there was a division between people using the meeting house, and some believed in the Trinity and the other ones didn't.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So Trinity Church was built, and those people divided themselves off from the what do you call them?
Unitarian.
Sorry?
Unitarian.
Unitarian, yes, Unitarian.
Yeah.
So they believe in one God and no others.
Ah, that's why they call Unitarian. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, so that's
Interesting.
why we've got a meeting house and it's a Unitarian meeting house in Ringwood, and it's worth seeing sometime when you're down. It's got the old box pews and things like that. They won't take them away. When the builders were working on the site doing restoration work, somebody restored the clock that had been up there, a nice big clock. Somebody pinched that. But it's got a small organ in there.
Sounds lovely. We've got a Unitarian church in Brighton too.
Mm-hmm.
I performed there with Lenora.
I got a feeling that
I've performed there too.
some of my ancestors might have been from Brighton, but I can't prove it.
Really? That's interesting.
Yeah, there's Jesse. There's a man's name, Jess, I suppose. Father and son. That confused me for a while. Both got the same name. Jess Pope. Funnily enough, Pope was my grandmother's maiden name.
Oh,
And I
really?
followed the popes.
Okay.
And there is a church. I used to know all these things.
You've written them down though, haven't you? You've got it all written down.
I've got a briefcase full, and
Yeah.
I'm a stranger to it. I look at it and I think, where did I get that from? I haven't made complete notes of my sources, which is I didn't think I needed it at the time.
Well, you learn, don't you? You learn to
Yeah.
sort of think, that has to be source.
But the way I found Brighton was I was looking for a Jesse Pope, and I got somebody at the records office, the births, marriages and deaths and all that sort of thing, to look it up for me, and they said they could find official people, and they weren't freelancers but official, and they said they couldn't find any Jesse Pope in the East End of London or in London at all. No Jesse Pope. And then they said we can only find one Jesse Pope in the British Isles, and that's in Brighton. I thought, well, if he's the only one recorded, there might be others that are not recorded, but if this is the only one that they know of, and it's in Brighton, and I know that my grandmother's ancestor was Jesse Pope, then it's got to be him, hasn't it? But I
Yeah.
can't prove it really.
Have you contacted any of the popes? Because perhaps that's something I could do if I'm in Brighton.
No, I haven't. I could tell you what church it was too, where they were, because I was looking at church records, and there's two Jesse Popes, father and son, and one of the I'm not so sure now, several popes, and they were all associated with that church, and one of them I know worked as an apprentice in Portsmouth,
Oh.
shipyard apprentice.
So what was the church association?
Yeah, now.
Was it in Brighton
In
itself?
Brighton proper, yeah.
Wasn't
'cause
St
the
Nicholas?
records
Can you
were
think of some churches?
Brighton.
In Brighton?
Yeah.
It wasn't even called Brighton when I looked at these records.
Brighthelmstone.
Yes, right.
Yeah.
They're all the same.
St Nicholas would be the oldest church.
St Nicholas. There's St
'Cause that's on a specific
St Mary's. There's St
It wasn't
Peter's.
St. Mary's.
St Peter's,
St Bartholomew's and
St Bartholomew's.
are the major ones.
No, St Nicholas sounds about
St
right.
Nicholas is
That's-
one of the older
That
ones.
is the oldest church, I think, in
Is it?
Brighton. Yeah.
That
And
has
dates back to the time
that-
of Brighthelmstone.
yeah, and that has associations with the king as well. St Nicholas Church, because they had a separate entry for the king because he was too big,
Oh,
so they had to
that
produce
must
the
have
second entry.
Well, when it was at the time that it was built,
It didn't. Well, it
wouldn't
did
have had all
actually.
the multi-storey car parks in the way, so you would have had a seascape, and there's a record of when I think it was the French invaded and sacked Brighton or Brighthelmstone, and
Did they?
could see him coming from that particular promontory
Hmm.
because it overlooks the kind of coombe.
That must have been about the same time as they did Southampton.
Oh
They
right,
attacked Southampton, didn't they?
yeah.
Probably was
think they do.
because it would have been a whole tour, wouldn't it? It's going down.
That's
Well,
where-
we've got a long history of wars with kind of various
Yes.
people
Yeah.
with Europe.
like 100 years or more.
Yeah.
Or more.
Indeed,
Yeah.
1,000.
So I will look up and see if I can see any more popes there, because I've come across some
Well, what I'll
popes.
do is I'll go. It's no good me getting the records now because we'll be here to Kingdom Come. You know. But without necessarily having a result, you know, going through. Oh, what was that paper? What was that? I've got them in separate files, but it's amazing how things escape you when you want a quick look at them.
Isn't it?
And
Just?
I find out which church it is, and I might find the other connections from that church. I mean, I built up a trail, assuming that Jesse Pope was that Jesse Pope,
Right.
and that it wasn't some other one that's not recorded.
Hmm.
Might have been, perhaps I had an ancestor that was using a false name. I don't know.
Sometimes they did
Yeah.
Well, it's quite often it's a case of
change name.
that they get wrongly written down,
Yeah.
Yes, that's true.
and
yeah.
so misspellings kind of
Yeah.
like fork out.
Well, I've always allowed for that,
Mm.
because one of the people I was looking at was their surname was Hannah. I tell you what, my website is still available.
I'll
on
have a
the
look at it.
internet.
Yeah.
If you just look at Google, Knott, Scott, Hardy, Hannah. Hannah is spelt different ways, but that's the one I'm just thinking of. All the different ways.
Mm.
Hannah with AY,
Yeah.
still Hannah for pronunciation, and
Think of that.
AH
Yeah.
without anything at all, just an A. This
Mhm.
side. Anyway, if you put those four surnames in, do a search on it, you're almost bound to hit my old website.
Fantastic.
And I'm still using, what do you call it, an email address which was associated with my old website. It still works.
Excellent.
And the other day, I had one called Averness, and that was in the same group that I stopped using. Well, I don't know, must have been 20 years ago. I stopped using that. But Averness was Avon Automation Services, which I was running a
okay.
little business at the time.
Right.
Because I'd just been, it'll be round about 91, because that's when I was made redundant.
Just before I went to Canada as well. And that would have been the time. Wouldn't that be the time when your mum passed? Around that time,
Yeah,
just before
88,
Canada. Yeah.
88,
Yeah,
1988.
that's
My
right.
dad passed away in 91,
That's right.
and cause I just remember, because I went up in a company car for his funeral,
Yeah.
and later on for his, when we put his ashes
Yeah.
under the rose bush,
God bless.
I was driving my own car then, you know, because I'd been made redundant.
So can I ask you, this is for my curiosity. Did you ever meet Auntie Madge? Auntie Margaret. Oh, she was called Madge. She lived in Islington in the flats, Peabody Building
No,
flats.
I haven't been able to place it. I think you may have mentioned it before.
I did, yeah. I just wondered if you'd had
No.
any other thoughts.
I,
But you knew Aunt Martha and Mabel.
yeah, and I knew Win.
Who's
Aunt
Win?
Win.
Who's
Well,
Win?
I wonder if it's the same person as Madge.
She lived.
Winifred, I suppose. She, as a wedding present, she gave us tickets to Bless the Bride. Isn't that terrible, really? And it was at the
I have got a wicked sense of humour, I'm afraid.
well, well,
Takes after your mum.
she was a bit dry, you know, a bit sort of. I'm glad you helped yourself.
Was she the
We've
school
completely
teacher?
Forgotten that as tea there.
Yeah.
Did you want it heated up?
No, it's fine. No.
Would you check on Francis as well in a minute?
Oh yeah, I was thinking that. Yeah.
Is she the school teacher?
I don't know what she was, but she lived just off. Is it Liverpool Road? There was another road running parallel to it, down by the Angel there. We used to get to the Angel and walk up her road.
See, I don't think that's the same relative. Unless she moved. There's a possibility she moved, isn't there?
Yes. Well, it might have done,
Because when I was a little girl, she lived in some flats but near Highbury in Islington. The relative I'm talking, but there was another relative up towards Chapel Market that we used to see.
Right. Well, that
So maybe it's
sounds about right.
yeah. So it sounds like it could be her.
Yeah.
Was there any other relatives that you remember? Because I have a recollection of going to a funeral of Auntie Carrie. Did you ever meet an Auntie Carrie?
No.
We used to call her Auntie Carrier Bag because that's.
She came back.
But yeah, I just wondered because I know that you've met a few people that we've never really met that much, you know.
No, just trying to think now.
But you were away quite a lot, weren't you? Because you were in the Navy.
I wonder if Aunt Win, whether it was short for Win Stanley.
Oh, it could have been, couldn't it? Yeah.
But why would she seem? She seemed quite close to us at the time.
Did you ever meet Auntie Mary Reedy?
No.
Right.
You don't mean your mum's sister? Hmm?
No,
No.
that's Mary Winstanley.
Yeah.
No, Mary Reedy.
No.
And we had a
Okay.
cousin called Pat Reedy as well.
No.
Yeah, I just wondered if you'd have met them.
But they wouldn't be the Irish ones, would they?
Yeah,
Ah.
yeah. They were definitely
Sounded
Irish.
vaguely familiar there.
Yeah. Auntie Mary Reedy had very long hair, very sweet, small lady. Lived in near Tollington Park when we knew her, around that area.
Ah, considering how close it was.
But then you would
They
have...
weren't present at our marriage, I don't think.
No.
I've no longer got the photograph of everyone in that thing where I'm in a sailor suit and
I might have that somewhere. I should have a look and see.
yeah.
And then bring it over and say, who's this, who's this,
Well,
who's
I
this?
wouldn't necessarily
Know
I only
everyone.
know certain people.
Yeah, because at a wedding, that's when you're getting to know people, isn't it?
The people that belong to the young Christian workers
Oh, yeah.
that we were
Yeah,
in.
Mum, that's where you met, isn't it?
Yeah.
Young Christian workers.
Yeah. Yeah, it was an antidote for communism.
Yeah.
It was a bit of Catholic communism.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was quite a good bunch there. Mixed bunch too. We weren't all Catholics.
No.
No, there was Fred Moss, who was Jewish.
He was in tailoring, yeah.
Yeah.
Moth
Hats
frost.
as well, yeah.
Yeah, it's a name.
It's interesting because all that era we probably don't know nothing about,
No.
you know, which is incredible, really,
Do
to
you,
think.
do you remember Father Lyons?
Yes, Father Lyons, yes. Yes.
He was at a church
St.
many
Mellitus.
years afterwards. I remember reading in the Telegraph that he'd been attacked. They had people that, you know, homeless and that, and they were housing them, not housing them for good, but
Sheltering them, giving them
overnight
shelter,
or
yeah.
keeping them for a couple of days while they found somewhere proper to live. And he allowed somebody to live on the property, because they had the properties next door as well. Two or three of them in the
Is that St. Mellitus are we talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You had you had the side road, which I can't remember what it was, then the church.
Yeah.
And then Tollington Park Road was here, and they had about 3 houses, maybe more, but the ones I know, 3. And one was where the priests lived, and the next one to it was like a spare house. We
Right.
used to use it for meetings and things like that. But upstairs, I suppose, could have been let out to somebody. Anyway, somebody attacked Father Lyons, and you know, it was a nasty assault. Didn't kill him or anything like that, but it was obviously a nasty assault on him. And I read it in the Daily Telegraph. And I thought,
Oh my goodness.
wow, he's still there.
Yeah. Father Lyons, I've got some pictures of Father Lyons, old pictures.
Yeah.
And
Nice bloke he was.
yeah, and the reason why I know it's Father Lyons, because I was too young to know him properly,
Yeah.
was through Auntie Mary. Auntie Mary told me. And, she, you know, we went through the pictures and she said, oh, that's Father Lyons. And
Yeah.
But that's in the early... if I come down again, I'll bring the album. And it's in the early album with some of your photos.
Oh, yeah.
There's...
Well, it's appropriate because he actually married your mum and I.
fantastic. See, we didn't know that, I don't think.
Oh, yeah.
And maybe
We had
Kathy might have known
we had
it.
a nice mass in the church.
Excellent.
And that picture of all the people in the group was outside that.
Outside St. Mellitus.
Yeah, the old St. Mellitus.
Excellent.
Put it that way.
Yeah,
Um,
not the new one.
Yeah. Yeah, it's, I say, he was quite a nice bloke, really. Very likeable sort of chap, with a nice, he had an accent, I think it might have been Welsh,
Uh-huh.
because Dr. Mostyn was Welsh.
Oh, yes, Dr. Mostyn was another friend, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Dr. Mostyn.
He was the chief
Yeah,
priest there, you know.
because
He was the parish priest, really.
yeah, because I think he ended up in Rome, didn't he?
Yes.
And I think
yeah,
Mum went to
your mum
visit
went
him
to
in
see
Rome.
him,
Yeah, that's right. I
Well, she
remember.
went to Rome and
No, he summoned her to Rome to see him.
did he?
Yeah. So, you've got to come and see me, Joan, in Rome.
Is
So
that
she went,
right?
yeah.
Is that because I was a trouble?
No,
was the trouble.
I'm not sure what era that was. I think it was later.
Later on.
But yeah, she did go to see him.
Yeah. Because your mum had a partner, didn't she?
Water,
Later on?
yeah, later, yeah. Her manager from years. Yeah, he was lovely. He was a lovely man.
Yeah.
Very gentle. Yeah, he had to put up with us, so he had to be lovely, didn't he? Really.
Oh,
But
that's nice.
it was-
I'm glad she found somebody.
well, I'm glad because it was like much later she kind of told us anything about what, and it was when I was like an early teenager, and I think she felt then she could tell us then.
Yeah.
So
What a rotter I was.
no, you did what you
No, it
had
was
to
wrong.
do.
It wasn't. Let's not
Yeah.
mince words. It's
Yeah.
a pretty rotten thing to do.
Well, you.
And I feel guilty to this
I know
day.
you do. I know,
I've never forgotten.
but you can't.
Well, you know.
You can't change what you feel at the time, and
No.
you know.
I
I think Jean was wise with you, though.
she was.
She's wise with you. She
All
gave
right.
you a year, didn't she?
Yes.
I heard about the story about the year, and I thought, well, that's a very wise lady for you.
Yeah, she was one. She
Yes.
was one. She was much smarter than me. No,
Oh,
I admit it.
she was lovely. I enjoyed meeting Jean. Very, very nice
She
lady.
inspired me to do a lot of things that I probably wouldn't do, and I
Good.
was, in a way, I was heading for the gutter a bit, you know, in those days. I wasn't very careful about my dress.
Yeah.
Um,
I think guilt does a lot of bad things to you as well.
no, it was while I was married.
Oh, really? Right,
Yeah.
okay.
And I don't know. I was getting on quite well at work, and but apart from that, I was a bit. I think I was probably a bit uncared for, and being allowed to get away with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I can remember stitching up my shoes at the back with
Oh,
copper wire.
God bless.
Why? Because I use copper wire in my business.
That's what sort of thing Alan does with
Absolutely.
his slippers.
Yeah, there is such a thing as recycling
I was
and
working.
permaculture.
I was working in a telephone exchange where there was more than 70 women in that place, and in that department, apart from doing my work superbly, I must admit that, or not admit it, but I'm proud of the fact that they thought I was so good that they'd give me their handbags, their bangles, their I don't know, every necklaces and that. I used to repair those as well, sitting in my little desk thing behind the switchboards. When I see them come round the end of the switchboard, I thought, well, what am I going to have to repair now? And even the chief supervisor got me to repair her handbag. She'd lost it. There was like a big brass piece on the end of the clip on the handbag, and she'd lost that.
In the days when you could repair things.
Yes,
These days, everything's so cheap and nasty that it's almost impossible.
I found a terminal off a battery, a big brass terminal, was absolutely screw on, you know, on this. There was a rod along there, and this knob thing at each end. So I took this battery thing, and I filed it down in a lathe-like action using a drill, like that, and then polished it. I lacquered it and everything, put it on the handbag and that, and they invited me to the dinner. There were 70 women in the place, and they wouldn't let me go. I was transferred down to the main exchange, where I'd previously worked. They wanted me down there, and the chief supervisor said, no, we prefer to have him up here. He's done magnificent work. He's done things that haven't been repaired for 10 years or something like that. He's done them.
Well, that's a miracle that they keep them that long. People just throw things out now, don't they?
Oh, this is a whole switchboard of equipment.
Yeah.
There were 70 positions around it in a sort of J shape, like that.
That'd all be done by kind of a little chip now, probably.
Probably. Yeah. Well, it used to be what they called toll. That was you dialed TOL on your phone.
Yeah.
And you came up on the switchboard, and you'd say, oh, I want 7 Oaks, whatever it is, and they would do it manually.
Yeah.
And also the 999 service, that was something I improved no end. I used to look after the 999 equipment, both on the switchboard and down below in the exchange. And I went from there, when I went into the services and came out, that was later on, I went to the power room, because while I was in the services I learnt all about power rooms, great panels with distributing the voltages about the ship and that.
Yeah, my father was in the Navy. He was an artificer.
Oh, was he?
And went into on the strength of it, went into the power, electric power,
So he was
after the war.
He was electric
Yeah.
artist for.
He ended up in nuclear power as charge engineer in the nuclear power station in Bradwell.
Well, I took charge of the powers on what I knew I'd picked up in the Navy over nearly 3 years. But yeah, so that was good. But and that's of course ultimately where I met Jean. I was working. I had a second period in the